This trip helped me to learn a lot about Costa Rica, the outdoors, and leadership. It helped me grow as a person and further develop my natural curiosity. One of the biggest takeaways in myself is the mentality to just say yes and to live in the moment, even if you're homesick. We got to take a coffee tour, which was so much fun. We got to learn all about the process of making the beans from growing to roasting. Manos picked us Santa Lucia flowers, which is said when given to you to provide love, peace, and abundance throughout the whole year. One of my favorite parts was talking with the girl at the very end. I was looking at some posters in the coffee shelter, and she explained their coffee plantation's mission, vision, and certifications. Basically, she told me all about what makes their coffee unique to them and their goals. Jake and I got to be the leadership team for the first 9-mile hike and then our shorter hike to Magda and Orlando's the next day. We got to ask a ton of questions to Ernesto and Manos about the planning and communicate it with the group. We were able to gain hands-on experience with group management and leadership, helping to make decisions like who was in the front of the pack when hiking and checking in on everyone to make sure that we were having their physical needs met and everyone was doing okay throughout the difficult hikes. We all packed and unpacked our packs multiple times throughout the backcountry stays when we would get to different locations so that we could change and get ready for each day's adventure. One of my favorite parts was getting to interact with the families we were staying with. And while I didn't get as close with some of them, I wasn't able to fluently communicate. It was amazing getting to help them and learn from them. The most mentally challenging activity we did for me was the waterfall rappel. It was the thing I was most scared of, but everyone who went up with me was so supportive and encouraging. It took me a bit to get over the mental block of being willing to say yes and start the rappel, but I am so glad I did it. I had so much fun and I was so proud of myself for pushing through the fear and going over the edge of the waterfall. One of my favorite memories is at the Lopez house. One of the younger boys wanted to walk out in the yard, so I went with him, and he took me to two of the older boys hiding under some bushes. None of them spoke English, and I didn't speak Spanish, but they were so excited to show me their pretend pasture and game, pointing to things and saying their names slowly so I could say it back to them. After thoroughly showing me their creations, they were eager to play football. Throughout the trip, I got to see so many cool places. I got to have a ton of conversations about life, and I got to connect with people on the trip in a way that you can't do in a classroom. And I think those conversations and interactions are what helped me grow in how I interact with others and learn my role in our group. There were so many things different in Costa Rica from how I lived my life in the United States. But I often found myself looking at the scenery, the people, and the sky, and despite feeling homesick, I felt like I was home. The people in the environment were so welcoming, and it felt like a big family. The culture itself is very different, from the language to what they occupy their time with day to day. But at the end of the day, we were all people experiencing life for the first time and trying to make the most of it in whatever way we know how. For some, that's exploring every part of the world. Some take joy in teaching, some enjoy the business life, and there are so many more lifestyles. I'm still figuring out where I'm going and how I want to impact the world around me, but I do know this trip has changed my perspective a lot on life, leadership, and the world we are living in.